Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, Bitcoin's adoption is exploding. As you can see by this chart, the number of Bitcoin addresses and the number of entities in possession of Bitcoin has been steadily trending to the upside for the entire history of Bitcoin. In fact, in only 21 days in history has net entity growth been negative. Okay, back up. What does all of this mean? Why is this important? Guys, for Bitcoin to rally, there has to be buying pressure. For Bitcoin to have buying pressure, there have to be people that are willing and able to buy Bitcoin. So naturally, when there are more people in the cryptocurrency market, there's going to be more buying pressure, and that can allow for Bitcoin to go to higher price targets. In today's video, we're going to be doing some longer-term technical and fundamental analysis on Bitcoin and where it's heading out over the next 5 to 10 years. And we are going to do some shorter-term technical analysis and look at a little bit of news. But the main thing I want to talk about in today's video is where Bitcoin is heading out into the distant future. So if you guys do enjoy today's video and you are interested in seeing more of them, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And guys, I will ask you, please hit the like button. You know, we can't continue the video until you hit the like. Thank you. Okay, now we can continue. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. The long-term growth of Bitcoin has been consistent, says the article, but that's not always apparent in the price action. Bitcoin, of course, has its rallies and its crashes, but does the long-term future of Bitcoin actually look that bright? The answer is a resounding yes, it does. And before we even get to the article that I mentioned in the intro, there's something I want to point out to you guys, and it's the amount of bullish things happening in the space right now. I was reading the news earlier today in cryptocurrency. I saw this article, largest Japanese consulting firm to launch a new cryptocurrency index. I don't even really need to read that. The headline kind of speaks for itself. Coinbase and Ripple executives unveil master plan to drive U.S. crypto adoption. This came out a couple days ago and I read it. They're talking about how to get the actual regulatory framework around the cryptocurrency space well fleshed out and built out so that companies are willing and able to move into the cryptocurrency space, which would of course drive adoption. That's a pretty big story. Startup bring crypto payments option to over 730 locations worldwide. This is another really big one. I encourage you guys to go read all of these articles because they're actually very interesting and very bullish. Guys, there are bullish news stories coming out of Bitcoin like this almost literally every single day. And now it's not just the fundamentals, it's not just the news landscape, the technical landscape's looking pretty good as well. Guys, I am still a little bit skeptical of this rally that we're in. We're going to talk about the short-term analysis here in a little bit, but at the end of the day, the technical analysis on Bitcoin in the longer term looks very, very good. We just had a weekly chart MACD cross, guys. Guys, stock to flow is predicting Bitcoin running to 100 grand in the next 24 months. There's a halving coming in about 100 days. The technicals, the fundamentals, the news, the adoption, everything on Bitcoin looks very, very good. So with that foundation laid, let's get back to this article. The rise and rise of Bitcoin adoption. Despite the public nature of Bitcoin's blockchain, the question of how many people are using the cryptocurrency has always been difficult to answer. Recent analysis from Glassnode, however, provides some valuable insights. Counting Bitcoin addresses has historically been the most commonly deployed approach to measuring Bitcoin users, but of course, some users have multiple addresses and some addresses are attributed to multiple users, as you would find on people that only have accounts on exchanges and not their actual own private wallets. By measuring new entities, former entities, and sending and receiving entities, the on-chain data and intelligence platform found that as of January 2020, this month, the number of entities holding Bitcoin is 23.1 million. Entities include individuals, organizations, exchanges, etc. Importantly, those figures are almost 20% less than the number of addresses. And that's interesting because, guys, I don't know about you, I have a lot of Bitcoin addresses, and I'm only one person. I'm not, like 17 people. As you can see, they've charted this out. The number of addresses have been continuing to rally for a very long time, and the number of entities have been continuing to rally for a very long time. I don't personally see a single day on this chart that the number of entities in the cryptocurrency space has declined at all. You can also see that the number of addresses kind of plummeted after the high in 2017 and on into the beginning of 2018. But from there, over the last 2 years, the number of Bitcoin addresses, which means the number of Bitcoin wallets, and in general, the number of people in the space, it's a loose correlation, but it's definitely there. The number has continued to rally, and we're right back up to where we left off at the end of 2017. But guess what, guys? Bitcoin has the same number of addresses, but we're worth half as much. What does that mean for the long term? It means there's a gap that needs to be filled. It means that Bitcoin, you ready for it? It means that Bitcoin is undervalued. And guys, like I said, that shows up in the stock to flow model. Stock to flow is predicting around an $8,000 Bitcoin right now before the halving, but wait until that halving comes in about 100 days. And the stock to flow prediction for Bitcoin over the next year from the halving, it predicts a 10x on Bitcoin, 1,000% Bitcoin going to 100 grand. And stock to flow has very rarely been inaccurate in the past. Bitcoin adoption, according to Glassnode's finding, has been consistently trending upwards for the entire cryptocurrency's history. In fact, the analyst found that there have only been 21 days so far in which net entity growth was negative. I don't know what that says to you guys, but that says to me that we are in at the ground floor of a space that is growing rapidly, that is attached to the price action of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has not responded in kind, which means that there is a major, and I do mean a major amount of room for Bitcoin to rally and run and grow. Bitcoin has a long way to go. It's not there yet, but that's a good thing for us because it means that we have time to invest in our future and the future of the cryptocurrency market. So I'm about to do some short-term analysis, and a lot of you guys are probably not going to like what I have to say, but no, I am extremely bullish for the year of 2020 and especially for the decade of the 20s. The future of Bitcoin looks very, very bright. Keep reading articles like this. I'm going to keep bringing them to your attention because they are very important, and frankly, they're pretty interesting also. Let's get back on into the shorter-term analysis, though. There is also some news I want to get to, but I also want to touch on what happened last night on Bitcoin. As you guys will probably know, Bitcoin rallied up to around $9,170 or so, and it fell. From there, yesterday, Bitcoin rallied again all the way up to close to $9,500, depending on the exchange you're looking at. All right, so guys, look. I'm bullish on Bitcoin in the long term, in the medium term even for the next 3 months. I'm feeling bullish on Bitcoin, or at least neutral with a bullish leaning. This, however, is concerning me. Reason: Bitcoin is very overextended on its RSI. And look, yes, I realize the stars are not always going to align on a rally. We have a 3 white soldiers pattern right here. We have Bitcoin being above the 200 daily simple moving average. We have a MACD cross on the daily and the weekly. But guys, if Bitcoin was going to have a major breakout and a major rally, where is it? Bitcoin's been above the 200 daily moving average for over 24 hours now. We haven't seen that major just blow off top. That could be for a couple of different reasons. Either one, Bitcoin's overextended and we're at the top like we were back in June of last year, and Bitcoin's looking for a correction down to around $7,800 to finish out that inverse head and shoulders pattern that we talked about. That's one scenario. The other scenario, of course, is that Bitcoin's just stopping for gas and we're about to keep going and the uptrend sustained. But what about the fact that even though adoption on Bitcoin is continuing to rally, even though the number of addresses are continuing to rally, what about the actual money in the space? The long-term trend for Bitcoin is very bullish as far as the amount of money and liquidity and addresses and people and dough in the space. But what about for the short term? Where's the buying pressure? If Bitcoin was going to blow up, wouldn't it have already? I'm perfectly happy with a slow grind, but I'm feeling a little weird about this. It's hard to pinpoint, but something doesn't feel right here, guys. But even though your intuition is a very valuable part of your trading, you do want to back it up with technical analysis whenever possible. And I want to point out the RSI to you guys. The RSI is at the highest point that it has been in over 8 months. The last time the RSI was sitting up at 70 was, well, a couple of weeks ago. But from there, Bitcoin getting above the 70 level on the RSI, keyword getting above the 70 level on the RSI. If Bitcoin's going to rally any farther, it's going to be getting into overbought territory. That's the kind of thing that happens during an uptrend. Hopefully Bitcoin does that. Hopefully Bitcoin proves me wrong, goes up to like 85 on the RSI, and then has this correction around like $10,500. That's very possible, by the way. But you do need to remember that the trend is your friend until it ends. Has the trend thoroughly ended yet? Bitcoin has been above the 200 daily simple moving average for a couple of days now. Bitcoin was above it for 2 weeks back over here. We flagged out, traded sideways, and fell. Is that what's going to happen, or is Bitcoin going to continue to rally? I'm not necessarily saying Bitcoin is going to fall. I'm not actually really making a prediction here. I just want to make sure you guys are aware that there's another possibility besides Bitcoin just exploding like everyone's talking about. And we need to take those precautions, because if you get into a long position and you're like, okay, well, Bitcoin's just going to go straight to the moon, and you're not aware of some of the things that are holding Bitcoin back, like this dude putting a 500 Bitcoin, a $4.5 million sell on Binance, which is creating a gigantic sell wall. If you're not aware of stuff like this, that is going to come back to bite you when you go 25x long because Bitcoin got above your entry position and you didn't think twice about it, and then you're going to regret not thinking this through. There is something to be said about when you're scalping, just entering a trade because it feels right. There's something to be said for that. That is definitely valid on the shorter term analysis if you really know what you're doing. But on the longer term, we have more time to think about it. We have more time to plan. You don't want to overthink, but you want to make sure you thought enough. And guys, this RSI is kind of scaring me. I hope Bitcoin rallies here up to like $10,000. Honestly, I'm starting to think it's going to, but you want to be kind of bearish until you've been proven bullish. Until we're back up above like some of these highs, until we're back up above like $10,500, which is where the high is over here. After we set a new higher high up there, I'm going to be happy. Then I'll be good. Then when we're that far away, I'm happy. But guys, like I say so many times, we're in a decision point. That's what Bitcoin is right now. It's in a decision point. Are we going to decide to go bullish, bearish? Because guys, right now we could either be right here when we got above the 200 daily simple moving average and blasted off, or we could be right here when we got above the 200 daily simple moving average and crashed. It can go either way, and history proves that. And by the way, guys, both times Bitcoin was sitting up here at the 70 level on the RSI, it fell. Over here, sitting at the 70 level on the RSI, and it rallied. What was the difference? A big part of the difference was the sentiment in the market, and it was also the bullish MACD cross on the weekly chart. As you can see, we had a bullish MACD behind us this time. This time, we also have a bullish MACD cross behind us, so this time it very well may be different. I'm not telling you to short the market. I'm not telling you that Bitcoin's going to crash. I'm not telling you Bitcoin's going back to 8K. I'm telling you to be careful, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. And to wrap up the analysis before I get to one more news story, one of the things I also want to see is I want to see these three moving averages flip their positions, guys. When Bitcoin's in a proper uptrend, the 50 is above the 100, which is above the 200. Right now, we have longest term, medium term, and shorter term in that order. You want to see the shortest term moving average on top, the medium term in the middle, and the longest term on the bottom. That is called a bullish alignment of moving averages. It's something we talk about in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. When Bitcoin has a cross between these two moving averages and then between the 50 and the 200 up here, that is also going to be a very bullish sign. One thing I want to mention as well is that out on the daily chart, Bitcoin had one of those more recently, and the moving averages are actually aligned correctly. We had our cross right here. We have shortest term, medium term, longer term. That's why I'm saying, guys, the weekly chart looks so bullish. Anyway, that's enough analysis. I do want to dive into one more news story before we go, and it's pretty funny. As you guys were probably aware, there was a proposal to put a 12.5% miner tax on Bitcoin Cash, which was just antithetical to the entire idea of cryptocurrency. That money would be going to a company, not even a nonprofit, for the development of Bitcoin Cash. It sounds like the development of someone's bank account to me, but you know, what do I know? There was so much pushback to this that Roger Ver and Bitcoin.com backed down from it and said, hey guys, wait a second, unless we get more consensus on this, we're not agreeing to this. That's just ridiculous. You've probably heard about this. This is not a news story. This has been going on for a few days now, but a 12.5% miner tax on Bitcoin Cash and their miners. And this is the worst part right here, actually. Most controversially, the proposal included orphaning non-compliant miners, the practice of removing blocks from the chain that resembles a 51% attack. And that's supposed to be going on a legitimate cryptocurrency. Guys, that is just one of the stupidest and anti-cryptocurrency proposals I have heard in a very long time. I want to hear your take on that in the comment section. Especially if any of you guys are for this BCH mining tax, I would love to hear why. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it is a great idea. Maybe it's not completely against the entire principles that founded the cryptocurrency space. Maybe I'm wrong. Feel free to tell me in the comments section, but that's just ridiculous to me. Anyway, guys, we're about to wrap the video out here, but before we do, I want to ask you guys what your take on all of this in the comment section is. What is your take on the longer-term analysis, the longer-term outlook for Bitcoin? Where do you think Bitcoin's going to be in 5, 10, 20 years? I'd like to hear that in the comment section. Also, like I said, if any of you guys are fans of the idea of the Bitcoin Cash tax, I would love to hear your take on that in the comment section, Discord servers, email me. I don't care. I want to hear about it. Because frankly, I think that's a pretty dangerous idea to be in the cryptocurrency space, let alone the actual proposal going through, which I don't think it's going to. The entire ideal of cryptocurrency is decentralization. That is just, like I said, the best word to describe it is antithetical to the entire idea of cryptocurrencies. But anyway, guys, before we go, I do first want to say that I've learned something over the last few weeks, and that's that one thing I would do for a long time, and this will be very brief, but one thing I would do for a long time is I'm a very ambitious type A kind of self-improvement guru kind of guy. I'm always trying to figure out how I can improve myself and the channel and everything. And what I would do is I'd kind of jump around and I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. And then a new habit would form and it'd last for 3 days and then it'd fall through. Tell me in the comments section if you can relate to that. It's like, especially since it's January, you guys maybe had New Year's resolutions. Tell me how those are going. Mine's going pretty well. But a lot of times we try and do things for ourselves or for other people and they fall through because we didn't have the follow through for them. And I learned something because I have so many ideas about ways that I can be better at X, Y, Z, things I can do better, things that I need to improve on. I have so many ideas. I have a 24 square foot whiteboard over there. If I zoom out, that's not zoom out. You can see it over there. It's big and I love it. But the point is, I have all these ideas about how I can be better, but what it comes down to is actually the execution. It's not the idea. Words are great, but actions speak louder than words. So what I've learned over the last few weeks is that instead of saying, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and that, and the other better, I'm going to pick 2 of them or 3 of them at most and just say, I'm going to work on that for a month and get it down. The point I'm trying to make is if you're trying to improve in something, cryptocurrency especially, don't try and improve in everything. Don't try and improve in your charting ability, your understanding of the technical landscape, your understanding of the fundamental landscape, your news reading, your daily routine, your trading. Don't try and improve all of it. Pick 2 things at most. Spend 2 months working on them. Get them really, really well done, set, locked down, not a problem, and then start working on something else. Dividing our attention is something that we do too much in the 21st century, and it's really a big hindrance. You might think you can multitask, but I guarantee you science says you can't. You just think you can. But anyway, guys, that's something that I've been thinking about lately, is just trying to pick what's important and focus on it. And then once you get good at it, once you get it down, once it's a habit, then you can change your focus. Anyway, that was just something I was thinking about. But anyway, guys, I do have to go because I have a meeting in half an hour or so. But before I go, guys, I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.